Welcome to another edition of Pulseo TV's podcast, Probando Fuerza. This is your host, Manolo Sanchez, the face of arm wrestling in Puerto Rico and the voice of arm wrestling in Latin America. We've been doing some different kind of shows everywhere in America. We went from South America back to Central America, but now we moved on to the cold north of Canada with this young kid, this young world champion, which he's really young. My new friend, Thomas Patrick Dumas from Canada. How you doing, Patrick?
Awesome.
You doing good? Doing well?
Yes. Awesome.
So, Thomas, I follow everything arm wrestling. So
Yeah.
I follow all competitions, all tournaments, all federations and world championships. I follow everything, and I follow people that interest me based on where they're at. I'm like
Yeah.
everybody else in the world. Everybody is looking at Canada, right? So I did a podcast with Odin Larrett. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I was watching that. Yeah.
So in that conversation, we were talking about people, about young kids and young guys that are coming up in the sports and opponents and all that. And your name came up.
Yeah, I seen that.
So you already have the eye of the Larratts on you, and I
Yeah.
already knew you were world champion. So I wanted to make this show so people can get to know you because everybody's listening to your name because of that podcast.
Yeah.
So I just want to know who you are, where you're from. So give us a little intro, your full
Okay.
name, your
Yeah.
age, where you're from, everything.
Okay. My name is Thomas Patrick Dumas. I'm originally from Manitoba, Canada, but I moved to Prince Edward Island around 3, 4 years ago. And sorry, I forgot what the other thing was.
So where you're from? Are you studying? You're in school? You're in your middle school, high school?
Yeah, I'm in middle school. I'm in ninth grade.
You're in ninth grade.
Yeah.
You're in ninth grade. Jesus. Okay, I'm getting old. Anyway, you're from Canada. I originally thought you trained with Vern Martel and Alex Marixas, but I got it
Yeah.
mixed up. And you told me you had your team and everything. So you're just a kid who's going to middle school and is world champion in arm wrestling, a sport that is growing every day and it's getting the attention of everybody in the world. So how did you got into arm wrestling? I mean, you're 14 years old. You didn't start yesterday, right?
No, it's been a while. So I was 7 and I was always fairly decent at arm wrestling in school. I was good. I was the best in my school in elementary. And my cousin was doing it. He was super good. He was provincial champion. And I went to a fair, like a carnival, and they had arm wrestling. And I was like, I'm good at it, so I'll try it out. And I won my right arm, and I loved it ever since.
So your cousin got you into the sport because you were following him because he already arm wrestled, right?
Yeah, he was very good.
And who's your cousin?
His name is Travis Dumas. He's from Manitoba.
I think I've heard of him. I
Okay.
think yeah, I think I've heard of him.
Yeah.
So he got you into arm wrestling, and like every male in the world starts arm wrestling in school
Yeah.
on top of tables and everything. That's the story. That's the regular thing, right?
Yeah.
So you started doing that at school at a very early age, at 7 years old,
I was
and
probably even started at 5 in school, like very, very young.
yeah, I believe you. I believe you because my son is 10 years old and he's been in the Boy Scouts since like 3 or 4, and they were already arm wrestling at three,
Yeah,
4, 5 years old. So it's a normal thing. It's a normal male
it is.
thing.
Yeah.
So so you did all this where you were little, and your cousin got you into arm wrestling because you follow him. So he got you training. He brought you to a practice, or he just got you into a tournament right off the bat. How was that?
So he kind of got my dad to go to the provincials to see what it was about because my dad just thought it was like in a bar sport, and he figured out it's not a bar sport, and it's very competitive. And he got us in a practice, and we did a couple practices with him. But my dad was the guy that got me to start training.
And did your dad arm wrestle?
Yeah, he's an arm wrestler. He's been doing it pretty good here.
So he started arm wrestling because you got into the sport, or he was already an arm wrestling before?
He didn't do it professionally. I was the first professional arm wrestler out of like the household, but he did it right after I did. He jumped right in.
Good, that's nice. It's kind of
Yeah,
a family thing, family got
it
into
is.
it and
Yeah,
everything.
everyone does it. Even my mom does it now.
Really?
Yeah,
That's your dad, right?
yeah.
You can say hi. Come on, sit down, chat with us.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I do it. It's an honor having your son in this show,
Thank you.
it. I'm humbled seeing you, watching you sitting down him with him right there in this interview. I love, this is what we need in this world, family, and that sticks together, fathers and everything like that. So you're doing a good job. You're doing the right thing right here. I'm
Thank you.
honored
I
to have you
appreciate that.
right there beside your son.
Thank you.
So you started arm wrestling, and your dad got into arm wrestling because you started arm wrestling, and now even your mom is arm wrestling.
Yeah, she just won her competition, both arms.
Bro, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Even even my little brother, he's really good. He doesn't train, but he's super fast and he loves to flop. He's super good.
I mean, how old is he?
Tristan,
Well,
he's 12 now.
Well, this
Yeah,
is good. This is good because this is the foundation.
yeah,
Like the reality of America is that when we go to competitions overseas, all the good guys are really old,
yeah,
over 40, over 50, you know, and
yeah,
and 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 it got me worried, when this East versus West thing started, it got me worried because I mean, we love our guys. We love
yeah.
Devin, we love John, we love Todd, but they're not gonna live forever. And
Nope,
yeah,
they're
that's
not
true.
gonna be healthy forever. So
nope.
so what are we gonna do if when they're done, because life is life and nature is nature. We need
Yeah,
Yeah,
this new generation. And I'm really happy to see a kid like Thomas and see his entire family getting involved into the sport. And I'm sure that Thomas is going to be an inspiration to other kids around him and abroad to get started and to be as good as he is, because this is the foundation that the sport needs, like in
yeah,
America, because in
yeah,
Europe
yeah,
you go to a world championship and they bring 200 kids.
yeah.
In
It's
yeah.
America,
huge.
it's not that many, right? So
No,
Yeah,
we need this to grow in our kids, and parents like your dad are the people that have to encourage their kids to get into arm wrestling, because arm wrestling is an easy sport and it's a cheap sport. You can arm wrestling on the top of the table, do freedom
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
yeah.
So everybody can get into it. So it's good, and I'm honored. I'm truly honored, and I thank God that I found this family, and this is the first time. I know you're gonna do more podcasts. I know you will, but this is your first
You're
one.
you're the first. You're the first.
So I'm really happy for that, and I'm really honored. So getting back
Thank
into the
you.
conversation, your entire family got into arm wrestling because you did,
Yep.
and and this was how long ago? 3, 4 years
So
ago?
I started 7 years ago. I was 7 years old.
Okay, 7 years ago. But I mean, like going to practices and training like that?
I actually was in practices when I was seven. Yes, I loved it. And I was doing some training when I was seven as well. It wasn't very frequent, but I would hop in the garage or the basement and I would go for a couple minutes and do some training.
But nobody told you to do it. Like you motivated yourself to do it. You wanted to do it.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean,
I love
I,
to win.
He's very
yeah,
competitive.
yeah, that's the attitude. You love to win. We got, it's good to compete and, everybody loses, but you gotta love to win if you want to win
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
that's
you want to
right.
do good. You gotta love to win,
Yep.
and we gotta teach our kids that. So that you're doing good. It's awesome. So, so the thing about training is like at 7 years old, kids are, want to play video games and all the other stuff. And
Yep.
nowadays with social media, now Thomas really wanted to train, you know,
I did,
He
yeah.
and
did.
and and it's a blessing that your dad's right there. Dad, how did you work on that? Like you did you guide him? Because he was still growing and everything. He's still growing right now. How did you work with that training at that early age?
It was more or less just see he was going to national and provincial level tournaments and smaller tournaments as well as training. And he
Okay,
was he was winning. He was
good.
taking on kids that were 2 or 3 years older than him. It's been his whole life. He's never had a challenge of someone of equal age that could really, challenge him. So along with those competitions and stuff, we didn't have a lot of money. So we had a lot of basic training tools that weren't really,
Yeah,
we didn't have the handles. We didn't have the fancy cable systems. We had a table we had made for him and his brother. There was a junior table, small table, and his cousin who was living with us at the time, he was into arm wrestling as well. He took us and he took me and showed me a provincial level arm wrestling tournament, and it was like I thought it was just going to be a bar sport, but it was more than that. There was kids, there was older people, there was women, there was men, there was it was a nice mix. So it was like wow, right? And Thomas is the type of kid that doesn't excel in a sport where he's not in control. He loves to be in control. He likes to eat well, train how he sees fits his regimen, his body, his efforts, his ups and downs. Um, he's always experimenting with different things. But when he was younger, it was more or less just I let him be. I He's a stubborn boy, I'll tell you. Um, when we would do things in our we had a garage like most arm wrestlers do, and it was basically just let him pull back. A lot of it was there was not a lot of wrist stuff, but it was just this pull back and sideways. That's pretty much his training. I didn't critique him too much because I would he was pretty adamant that this is how I want to do it. So I let him be. I let him do incorrect. It wasn't perfectly choreographed. It was just him. He got strong. He just got really, really strong. And then in time, he started, really watching Devin Lorette, all these high-end arm wrestlers, and getting the basics of high hand. When we were messaging different guys about how to make him better, and it's always better if it comes from somebody else, not your parents. It goes farther. And we
yeah,
just let him, do his deal. And his losses were slim to none. He went to a national level tournament, but he was put with kids that were like 4 years older than he was. So at that age limit, your age time, uh, you're not developed as much as a kid that's 4 years older than you. So he lost. He did lose. And he took that loss as they're not going to beat me again. And they didn't. Those kids, same group of kids, have never touched him again. That's where it comes up here and in here. That drive,
yeah.
that want to be better, that want to be stronger, to be the best. That's all on him.
Yeah.
We just provide tools, say, here you go. We'll help you as much as we can. We're behind you. Go for it. And that's what he does.
You know, I think no one has spoken about this openly, because it's very important for parents to know how to deal with your kids in sports. But, arm wrestling, like every sport, there's risk to arm wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And some parents maybe get scared because of injuries and things that can happen when you arm
Yep.
wrestle.
Yep.
And to hear your perspective, like you just let him be. You guided him, but you let him be and let him get strong where he wanted to get strong,
Yeah.
and you guided him, and he got strong, he got good, he had the right mindset, he prepared
Yeah.
his body with your guidance,
Yeah.
and you can see all the parents are watching. You can see how you deal with that, because I'm gonna tell you the truth. My son is 10 years old, and my
Yeah.
son has been arm wrestling since he was 3. But like 2 years ago, I refereed like 4 tournaments in a row every weekend, and every weekend a guy broke his arm, like
Okay.
4 weekends in a row. It was the last, like, December 2021, something like that, I think, or 2022. Like, first weekend a broken arm, next weekend a broken arm,
Yeah.
and I just told him, okay, let's stop arm wrestling for a while,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it got to me. It was so many injuries, one after the other, and I stopped them. and but kids are kids, and I
Yeah.
know he will arm wrestle in school. So
Yeah.
so I practice with Owen, which he's 17 years old. He's my training partner. He's 17 years old. I'm 43, and he's my training partner. And
Yep.
and and when we practice on Wednesday, my son goes to soccer practice. And when he ends soccer practice and he comes to where we at, I started, like, I told him, like, okay, let's start arm wrestling again. And he
Yeah.
got better.
Yeah.
So I know he's
Yeah.
arm wrestling somewhere. So,
Yeah.
you know, sharing this, because I got scared because I saw so many injuries in a row,
Yeah.
but we have to guide them, and we have to have the courage to support them on whatever
Yeah.
they want to do.
Yeah.
So it's great information for me as a parent, and for
Yep.
every other parent that watches this show. So, I mean, I was gonna ask you, how do you got so good? But I think the answer is simple. Your dad just told me that's your mindset. But I want to hear it from you. How do you think you got so good?
I think the biggest thing was the competitiveness. Like anything I do, I'm competitive usually, and the training. So I would just train as much as I could, and the training just got better and better and better. Like even last year, my training was horrible compared to what it is now. It just keeps getting, I guess, more smarter training to what I'm doing, and I think the biggest thing was the mindset and wanting to win.
Okay, you're telling me about the evolution in your training. What's a typical day of training or a typical week of training for you?
So in the summertime, like during the school break, I had 2 months off. I was like, no joke, I was doing 4 to 8 hours of training a day. It was a little bit crazy with how much training I was doing. I was just
I mean,
being
you're
under,
14 years old.
I was just undertrained, like this much undertrained. So I was doing tons of training and tons of eating. That's all I was doing was eating, walking outside, and training. And now that school's back on, I had a little bit of a sickness, so I stopped, but I'm getting back into it. I'll wake up at 4 a.m., and I'll do an hour to 2 hours of training. Then I'll do whatever I need to do before school. I go to school, I get home, and I'll do another hour, 2 hours, and then I'm done for the day.
So
Commitment.
this
Commitment.
commitment, yeah. So I was gonna ask you, do you follow Todd Hutchins?
Yes.
Because that's his regimen.
It is, yeah. And I,
That's
I didn't I
impressive.
didn't even know that before. And when I started watching those videos, I was like, what the heck? Me and Todd have pretty similar training.
Yeah. It's like the road to success is very clear and similar. But the
Yeah.
Yeah.
only difference with other roads, it's that it's hard because
Yeah.
nobody else, no, not everybody gets up at 4 a.m. to train.
No,
Only the guys that want to be better and and are thinking that somebody else is getting up earlier than me. So
Yeah.
I gotta
That's what
be
I'm
up
thinking.
before them.
That's what helped me
So
before Worlds a lot. Like even during the summer, I would wake up at 8 in the morning and I would train some days till 12 p.m. Not straight like that, but I would eat, go back to train, eat, go back to train, and it really gave me a good amount of fuel for Worlds for training.
it's really motivational for a
Yeah.
43-year-old to listen to you doing things better than me.
no one will outwork him. No one will
Yeah.
outwork him. If you say, okay, I'm
I
going to
just,
start at 3:30 in the morning, he's going to start earlier. Don't
I
tell him
mean,
that
what's
because
that noise?
he
Oh,
won't
Thomas
sleep.
is training. You getting your
Right?
8 hours at least? You getting your 8 hours?
Most days.
Yeah, like during the summer. Now it's pretty hard to do 8 hours.
Yeah. So by what you're saying, you're not into video games and anything like that. You're into training.
I try to be a little bit into video games because it helps me just to settle down because training it's like it's hard when you're training that much and there's nothing else you really do besides school and training. So I'm doing a little bit of video games, but nothing more than 30 to 40 minutes a day.
You
Dude,
got to
that's
have a
great. That's
balance.
great. Yeah, you gotta
He
have
knows that.
balance.
You got to have balance. You can't just kill yourself. There has to be balance. And that's how you make
Yeah,
things better.
Yeah.
yeah. And if you want to be as good as you are, you're putting in the work and a little extra. So
Yeah.
your projection is really, really, really high, you know? And people don't understand when I use that word. I mean, like when I see an athlete, an arm wrestler, I analyze what he does, what he's doing, and I project how far would he go, you know?
Yeah.
And that projection is based on commitment, mentality, and training. And seeing a 14-year-old kid this committed, he's already world champion. What else can I say? The sky's the limit, and he's only 14. I don't know where he'll be when he's 19 or 20. I don't really know. I mean,
That's what
it's
I
gonna be
try and
really
think of as
high.
well. Yeah.
It's
And
gonna
that
be really
helps
high.
me
I
with
mean,
my training. Is I think like where can I go, right?
yeah, yeah. How tall are you?
I think I'm like 5'7.5" right now. I'm not very tall.
And you're still growing
Yeah.
because you're 14. You're still growing, and your body weight.
I was down for a while, but now I'm back up 198, 196. I'm hovering right around there.
Oh, wait. You're a 14-year-old that weighs 198. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story. When I was your age, I wanted to be big. I want to be big, but I looked really. I was really skinny. I didn't weigh 100 pounds. I remember the exact day. I remember like it was yesterday when I went to a gym in Cabo Rojo, which is a city near where I live, and my gym was closed, and I went to Cabo Rojo to train that day, and I stepped into the scale, and it was 190. I was like, yeah, I'm 190, and I was like 21 years old. So so at 14 years old, Thomas is 198.
And
So
my little brother, he's 12 and he's 202 pounds.
what? Is he
He's
taller than you?
5'10".
He's 5'9", 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah.
So
He's
you're
bigger than
big
me.
guys. I mean, look at your dad. Your dad is a big guy. How tall are you, Dad?
I'm 5'8", 5'8.5".
But you're big. You're sturdy. You know.
I weigh about 310, 320. This is the queen.
This is Mom. Hello, Mom.
Yeah.
It's an
Hello.
honor to have your entire family on the show. Is your brother there somewhere?
He's upstairs right now. I can bring him down if you
Okay, but
want.
if he comes out, you gotta get me in the shot. Gotta get him in the
I'll
shot.
You
get him.
betcha.
Okay, so uh, where was I?
Talking about
Okay.
weight.
Okay, we were talking about weight,
Yeah.
and you competed. You competed at the World Championship. Okay, let's the weight thing. We're gonna leave it when we talk about the World Championships. Uh, how many tournaments, or can you tell me about your career since you started doing this, seriously and doing tournaments? How many tournaments have you done, and how was your progression?
It's very hard to say how many tournaments I've done. If I had to guess, I would say 30 or more in total.
Well, we had the
That's
COVID
good.
thing going on here too, right?
Yeah.
2019 there, it shut everything down. We were just
Yeah.
getting rolling. Everything was rolling right along. We had a good training system. We had rather large groups to go and train with. We had Ryan Espy, world champion. We had Jose Morneau, another world champion, and multiple other provincial and national champions to go and train with. And then it just stopped.
Yeah.
It ended, right? And I was really worried that having been away from it all for that long, he never really stopped training. It slowed down, but he didn't stop. But then when we moved here in what year, babe?
2021.
Yeah, 2021.
We moved to the maritime provinces of Canada, and we found a nice club. Not a big club, and then it started again. And then he really just it escalated.
Yeah,
But the first year,
maybe 3 or 4 tournaments.
it would have been about 4 tournaments plus provincials and a national level tournament. And then from then on, it's been every year, every national provincial level. It's been since we've been here, so 2021 and on, plus
Battle of the Atlantic, Superman.
Yeah, some other.
about 6 to 8 other tournaments, just provincial level, nothing huge, but he got some action there, and it's been since 2 years ago. 2 years ago, when we were in Cape Breton, Canada, it was a national level, and he won right and left, but he was getting teased by one province of boys, and they told him, "Thomas, you're strong, but your hand and wrist very weak." Well, when you tell this guy there's something weak, it's going to get unweak right quick. So the following year, this year, we went to the national tournament, and he arm wrestled the same kids, but now they're older. They're in the next level up, and he just ate them. He ate them all. They couldn't do a damn thing with him, and this is like 18-year-olds and down, and these are some damn good, fine competitors. Now they don't they don't dare say, "Hey Thomas, this is weak."
No, they don't want to do that anymore. They don't want to do that anymore.
So it's not as
Tristan, just come here. Just step in the frame.
here comes his baby brother.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the baby brother.
That's the baby brother.
Hello, pleasure to meet you, baby brother.
It's Tristan.
Tristan.
Yeah.
Okay, you were saying?
But now we're really on track with getting him, like Devin told us, he needs to arm wrestle. So he's gonna arm wrestle. We're hitting everything and anything we can line up. And I mean everything. If it's national, if it's over the pond, wherever, we're gonna get him there. If people want to arm wrestle him, you let us know.
And my training not that recently, but it was 2021 when we moved here. I got a super match with a world champion, actually. He was 16, I think. And I was so excited. And I started to train fairly hard before that, but I wasn't training my wrist. And he whooped me. So after that, I started going to the gym, and that's really when my training picked up. It was like winter of 2021.
Nice. Well, you said world champion. Do you remember his name?
Gavin Moore.
Do you remember his name of the world?
Gavin Weaver.
Gavin Weaver.
Okay, Gavin.
Yeah.
So you got into that tournament, but I want to know, how did it start for you? Like, you went to your first tournament. Did you win that tournament, or did you started winning after you or you just started winning right off the bat?
Yeah.
I started winning my first tournament. If I didn't win my first tournament, I'm not sure if I'd still be doing it because I hated to lose. Like, absolutely hate it.
I love this kid, bro.
Especially when I was a
But
little kid. It was horrible.
how was like, okay, you went to your first tournament, you won. How did you transition? Getting comfortable with the I know training is involved, but different referees, different setups, and how do you transition being so young, and you like got down running? How do you transition? Was it hard, or did you just it was easy for you?
For me, it was pretty easy transition because as a little kid, they're pretty lenient. Like, if you have an elbow pop and nothing happens, then you're all right. But now it's a bit harder. But it was pretty easy transition. Like, until I started to get older in the national level, it really gave me a hard time because anything you did, like if your wrist was a little bit curled, you're gonna get fouled. So it was a bit harder when I got older.
He's
Yeah,
a he's
it
a
is
he's
to
a
us all when we get older.
Yeah.
he's a real gentleman now with the refs. Like more than ever. The last competition, the refs came to me, his father, and said, "Your boy is so fantastic to have come to the table. He comes in fair. He comes in square. He comes in um, listening, asking questions before the match starts, and then it just flows. It just flows for him."
Yeah. Now that you say that, I'm gonna go back to what we said at the beginning. Not a barred sport. This
Yeah.
is this is my vision for arm wrestling. I mean, I've been arm wrestling since I was my first tournament was at 16 years old. I've been national champion Puerto Rico only once because Puerto Rico back then only have one big promotion and then it died out. But I remember I got that last tournament. I was national champion, but that tournament was put together by a beer company. And here in Puerto Rico, when you say arm wrestling, everybody relates it to a bar or a restaurant, stuff like that, right?
Yep.
So when we um when I went to the North American Championships in Mexico this year, I remember I was sharing with Simon a lot of things that had happened, and he hugged me and he told me to my ear, "Stop arm wrestling in bar and restaurants."
Yeah.
And that squished my heart. I was like, it makes sense,
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
and the in the podcast I did with Odin, uh, we had the same idea about the sport. We agreed on that.
Yep.
The drug testing, the get it out of bars, making it more professional. We
Yeah.
we can still have these big promotions with super matches, and we still can have the high level, high end professional tournaments. And
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
and taking them out of bars and restaurants and make it professional, and that would create a family environment for the sport.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
and it's sad to say that we many parents, and I'm gonna tell you this. I'm right now I have a group like 20 kids that arm wrestle, that practice with me. We train together on Sundays, and it has been my toughest job of that experience has been to tell the parents, this is not a bar sport.
Yep.
This is a good sport. This is a nice sport, a serious sport, and and
Yeah.
and it's not. There's everything has a good part and a bad part, an ugly side,
Always.
and it was like always. But I have to educate the parents on the good side of the sport,
Yep.
and everybody that trains with me, I will tell them my vision. I don't want you arm wrestling. Like, you can do whatever you want, but my vision is to take the sports out of bars in Puerto Rico and do nice events so people can be proud. Your parents can be proud of my son
Yeah.
is going to
Yeah.
compete in arm
Yeah.
wrestling in that event. And
Yep.
and it's not in a bar, it's in a coliseum or someplace,
Yes.
or a venue, something nice.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can be proud of your kid, and your as an athlete, the kid can be feel proud, because with this bar thing, if you are a minor, you cannot arm wrestle in a bar. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And we need kids. We need them.
Yep.
So this is a turning point. I feel it's we're experiencing a turning point in arm wrestling, where things are about to change in a big way, because
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think it's gonna take a hard turn out of that bars and restaurant thing.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be hard. Like, it's gonna be like cold turkey, bam,
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's gonna stop. It's gonna be difficult, and people are gonna get mad, but it's the way to go if you want to grow as
It
a
is.
sport.
It is.
It's the way to go. So I'm so glad that I'm finding people that think we think alike about this part of the sport, because sometimes people that only think about making money out of events, they don't agree, because they just want to find the easiest way to make money, and they don't care about the sport or the athletes or whatever. So
Exactly.
that's the pushback that we get, people that want to change this. So it's I'm very happy that every day I'm finding more and more people that think the same way that I do
Yeah.
about that. So, team and partners, what's your name? What's the name of your team that you're training right now?
Our club is called Pain Plant. It's in Western
Pain Plant.
Prince
I
Edward
love
Island.
that game. I love the name, Pain Plant.
Yeah.
It's a great name. So
We definitely
who
do
are
get
your
some
training
pain from us.
partners?
So
Yeah?
we have a couple new guys. We have a guy named Abis Sheikh. He's from India. We have a guy named Devin Bernard. Those are the two new guys. And two guys that have been doing it for years is Jody Harper and Logan Leclerc.
Nice, nice. And they how many times do you do table time with your team? Once a week, twice a week?
We usually do once a week on Tuesdays.
But Jody, he's
Tuesday,
the captain, and Jody said whenever,
Any day.
any day.
any day.
Yep.
So maybe if you feel like it, you can do 1, 2, 3 times a day, a
Yep.
week.
Yep. He usually gets me about 5 times a week.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy. I
Yeah.
gotta be careful. If he gets me into a certain position, I can't stop him.
And you know something? Back when I was big, I was a big guy like 2 years ago. I was 330. I've always been in strength sports. I was a bodybuilding, powerlifting, and everything. I was 330, and I got sick, and I had to drop all the weight, and I got down all the way to 176, and now I'm 200 pounds. So now I can say that when you pull somebody that's heavier than you, you feel it right away in your hand.
Yep, 100%.
So that kid right there is arm wrestling his dad, who's 300 pounds. So take notice. That's
Yep.
a difference. That's great. That's a great training partner.
Yep.
It
Having
is.
to pull somebody that's way heavier than you, it's the way to go if you want to get strong. When people, it's good if you train every day with even with people that your own weight, even if they weight less than you. But if you get a guy that's heavier than you, and you get to pull him often, it makes a difference. So that's the secret for Thomas training.
Beat up
So
on his dad and his
he's
mom.
beating up on his dad, elderly abuse. Thomas, you gotta be careful.
Yes.
By the way, how old are you, Dad?
I'm 49.
49. I'm
Yeah.
43. So we're right
We're
there.
teaming right along,
Yeah.
me and you. Yeah.
Yeah. So the World Championships. You just went to Greece to the World Championships and you won. How was that experience? Tell me all about it. I want to know. I want to know how you felt. You were nervous. How many times did you pull?
It was crazy. So I got there, and as soon as the competition started, I noticed the level was crazy because we have a girl from Canada here. She's usually winning every competition in the youth division. She went there, and the other girl did very, very well against her. So that definitely opened my eyes for how high the level was. And that gave me a bit better like mindset for my matches that were maybe 2 hours later. And the first left arm match was the guy from UK. He's like 6'4" or something. He's like huge, like super tall. And I seen him in the airport. I was like, holy man, I gotta go against this dude. And when I went against him, we went in the hook, and that was perfect for me because that's usually my best spot. So I got him. And then I went against this guy from Bulgaria, and he just flash pinned me. It was like nothing. I was like, oh my gosh. Because that's usually my thing is to go for a hook, and I just like nothing. So I was pretty worried. And then I went against a guy from UK again. I got him, which secured me a spot in the finals. And I was in the B-side finals, and I was able to make the Bulgarian guy foul out the first time, and then I had to pull him again. But I really pissed him off in the setup and everything. I was messing around, and he fouled in the setup because he was moving in the rest grip. And then I did kind of a similar thing what Devin did with Hermes. So you'd go for the slip, and the other guy lifts his elbow off, and he did that, and he was just pissed. He was slapping the table and everything. So it gave me a lot of confidence for the next time. And I was really bugging him in the setup. I was telling him, like, man, I'm gonna destroy you. There's no way you can beat me. There's no way. And he said, no, no. He was trying to act like he couldn't speak English. And I got an early start, and it was like, holy man, I got him. So I was like, ooh. And I got his elbow this far off the pad. So I was so happy, like, and I had so much confidence. It was crazy. And it it was like awesome because I went from thinking there's no way I could beat this guy to like it's gonna happen, and it's gonna happen in a couple seconds. So then I got him,
Yeah.
and it was the best feeling I've had yet. It was crazy.
You pull both arms, right?
I pulled both, yeah, and then the right arm, I was worried because everyone else's right arm was better. So I was like, holy man. But my right arm's better as well. So I was like, see how it goes. And I got everyone on the right arm, and it was me and the Bulgarian guy in the finals again.
The same guy.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
guy.
And how did it go with the right?
I got him pretty good. So his coach was Plamen Dimitrov, and I didn't know that until the right arm day. And I heard about that. He was telling Plamen about me and everything, and like what strategy to do, and he was gonna press me. So in the setup, his shoulder was like this. It was not square at all. Everyone in the crowd was yelling, his shoulder, his shoulder. I thought they were talking about my shoulder, and I was like, what the heck? But I looked at him, and he was gonna press me. I was like, okay, let's go. So I was gonna press him as well. But once they made him really mad with his shoulder, he came out and he was going to twist out, but then I pressed through him.
Damn, he's young, strong, and technical. He knows what he's talking about. I mean, you're talking like you've been 30 years in the sport. Damn,
It's
I'm
weird.
impressed.
It's weird. Like his acumen for arm wrestling. It's like I've said before, hockey players are hockey players, soccer players are soccer players. He's an arm wrestler. That's what
Yeah,
he is. And it's up
100%.
here, right?
Yeah. And you know something? There are wrestlers that have the physical abilities, and
Yeah.
the physical gifts to do things on the table and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
But there's other arm wrestlers that they are not really that gifted physically, but they have a big brain, and they know what they're doing and what they want to do on the table. For example, one of my favorites, Daniel Worley from Florida.
Yeah.
He's not as gifted as
Nope.
physically as other arm wrestlers, right?
Yeah.
But he's so smart. His table IQ is so high,
Yeah.
and it makes a difference. And Thomas, I'm finding out that he has the physical ability and he has the brains for it,
Yeah.
and it's really amazing and impressive because I know arm wrestlers that are good and they can't explain what they do on the table.
Nope.
Yeah.
Just can't explain it,
No.
So Thomas follows what I tell the kids that arm wrestle with me every week. He knows where he wants to go, and he knows how to get there.
Yeah.
And he doesn't worry about what they're gonna do. He worries about what he's gonna do. And
Yeah.
it's your formula is foolproof. It's
It's
why?
working.
Because it's
Yeah.
it's basic. It's 101.
Yeah.
The basic thing, and you're still developing your skills and your talent as an arm wrestler.
Yeah.
So if this base, this 101 is so strong and so good, when you start to develop thing, I mean, what I mean is you're still gonna grow. You're gonna get a little bit taller, you're gonna get a little bit wider, you're gonna get stronger, your hands are gonna grow. You're 14 years old. Do you know the Michelangelo's sculpture, David?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. So everybody, when they see that sculpture, the first thing they say is, why is it deformed? Because his head is so big and his hands are so big and his feet are so big and they're not like his body. The thing is, because David was 12 years old, that's the age that statue, that sculpture of David was, and he started changing his body. So your hand, the size of your hand now is not gonna be the same next year.
Not even close.
So you're gonna change, and this 101, this strong base that you have, you're gonna start working with God, what God is giving you, and is gonna give you in the coming years, and it's gonna be freakish.
Yeah.
And you see his face. See his face. That right there scares me. That scares me. Look at that face. It was like, yeah, I know. I can't wait. I can't wait. So
It's coming.
it's coming. Yeah, it's coming. So the only thing you have is getting better. And with proper training and avoiding injuries and everything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on the right path. You're on the right path. So you pulled the Ottawa Open last weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
How was that? It was crazy. The level was much higher than I thought, like for every class. And it was super packed. It was awesome. There was probably 700 people in there, and it was crazy.
25 competitors on the right.
Yeah, 25 on the right and 23 on the left, I think. That was the biggest class I ever competed in. It was huge.
Yeah.
And I was pretty worried when I heard the numbers, but when I got up there, I was very confident.
How many matches did you pull?
I think I had 6 on the right and maybe 7 or 8 on the left.
Okay. Did you feel
closer to 10?
Closer to 10?
On left.
I had 6 in a row on the left, like nonstop, no break, just keep going.
Yeah, that was my next question. How that, like, going deeper and deeper and deeper in the bracket, how did your arms felt? Did you got tired, or did you held on, good?
They held on very well. I didn't really have too much of a pump going because I didn't really train that much endurance before this, but before Worlds and the last tournament, I trained like crazy endurance. So it really led up to this. And the tournament before, I entered 2 classes on each arm. So I was just back-to-back tables. I think I had over 20 matches in total. So that was the most I've ever had.
Wow.
My endurance held up really well.
Against men.
And throughout the tournament, the level just kept getting higher. Like my first match, I got it. Second match, I got it. But then it just kept getting slower and slower and slower.
So your dad said you competed against men.
Yeah, it was 2 men's classes on each arm.
Okay. How did those guys get frustrated when they lost against you?
They were pretty happy, I think, just because they were happy for me and my progression and everything. But the one guy, I just couldn't beat him. I only got him once out of like 4 or 5 matches we had. He was placed above me in every single category.
Yeah. But
I got second,
that's a lie. They
three
go like,
silvers.
"Oh, I'm really happy for you." But they went outside and they started crying besides the dumpster. It's reality. It's reality.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to go to the Ottawa Open this year, but I honestly forgot about it.
Next year,
I forgot about it.
You gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta hit
You
that
will
tournament.
pull.
I remember it when I saw Devin's story saying, "Okay, it's better late than never." Ottawa Open. I was like, "Oh shit, this is this weekend."
Yeah.
I forgot about it. I wanna go up there and I wanna pull in that tournament. Even if I get destroyed, I just want to be there. I think it's the biggest tournament in America.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
I think the closest one could be maybe Michigan State's or Winter Blast.
I
Those
would
are the
say
biggest
that,
in the States.
yeah, they'd be right even, right?
Yeah.
With numbers.
Yeah. I mean, I went to Winter Blast this year, and Winter Blast had like 600 entries.
Yeah.
And at some point, I know Michigan State has in between 500 and 650, maybe 7. But
Yeah.
the Ottawa Open consistently has 700 entries plus.
Yeah.
So I think it's the biggest event, arm wrestling event in America, and like
I
overall.
think, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's huge.
Yeah.
So I gotta hit that event. I gotta put it on a calendar or something so I can remember it, because I got so much things I gotta do, and I'm training for the North American Championships in Costa Rica and in a lot of things, and I forgot about it. I wanted to do that event. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. So far, Thomas, what could you tell the kids that are watching and the people that are watching about your experience in arm wrestling overall?
I think it's the best sports experience I've had. I've done probably 4 or 5 different sports, and there's been none that can compare to arm wrestling. The people, the training, everything for it is amazing, amazing.
You won't get many competitors to congratulate you and then work with you to make you better
In other sports,
in other sports.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a trademark about arm wrestling. Like
Yeah.
me, when I go to practice, I end up teaching people
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything I know. You
Yeah.
know, so that's a trademark about this sport. And I think it's because of God's plan. Arm wrestling is the oldest sport in history.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
cavemen arm wrestle.
Yeah.
So it's the oldest sport in history, and it has never had the attention or the appreciation that
Yeah.
it should, being
No.
the oldest sport in history.
It's
Not
up to
like
us.
baseball. It's
Yeah.
up to us.
Yeah. It's our job
And
now.
yeah, so I think we're getting that.
Mhm.
It's part of God's plan to get us all here together. And at this
Yeah.
point, God's time is perfect. It's the right time for the sport to get highlighted. And since we're just years away from the Olympics, which I'm a romantic kind of guy.
It's
That's
coming.
my thing. It's coming.
It's
I just
coming.
want, when arm wrestling gets into the Olympics, I just want my country, Puerto Rico, to have a delegation there. And
Yes.
if I can be there just to watch, or to support my team, or just to be a coach, I would love to be there. But if I see my flag on that stage just saying we're here, it's enough.
That's
And
an honor.
that's the honor. I mean the best prize for an athlete is to represent their country against the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer that to whatever kind of money they can pay me in a tournament or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
the feeling you get when you represent your country and you get to the podium with your flag, and if you get the first place that they play your national anthem,
Anthem.
that's
Boom. Yeah.
no words,
No.
no words.
No.
So with Thomas, who has had that experience in such an early age,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have gray hair and a gray beard watching Thomas winning an Olympic medal for Canada in the Olympic Games in 2032, which is the date we expect the arm wrestling to be an Olympic event, since in Los Angeles 2028
Yeah.
it's gonna be arm wrestling for the Paralympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this. I had a meeting with the president of the Olympic Committee here in Puerto Rico, and I didn't know that if whatever sport is big in your country and you want to have it in the Olympics because you are the country that's going to be the host for the Olympic, you can
Yeah.
have it. it can be there. I didn't know that. I didn't
That's
know that.
awesome.
I thought that was an Olympic Committee decision or whatever. So now
Yeah.
this is the thing, and I know you guys didn't know this. In 2027, the the Olympics Pan American Games are gonna be in Peru, in Lima, Peru, and arm
Wow.
wrestling is gonna be part of that event.
That is crazy.
And that's an Olympic level event. It's gonna be in Peru. Hopefully, I'm gonna make it there. I'm gonna be there with a Puerto Rico delegation. So we got 2027, we got 2028 en road to 2032, which we hope finally arm wrestling is gonna be in the main stage. I mean, they had breakdancing. Come on, come
Yeah, we got to
on,
get Arnold in there.
Like,
come on.
wow, really?
We
Oh
have
my
people
gosh.
bouncing like bunnies and stuff. What? Come
Yes,
on.
yes,
We deserve
yes,
that respect. Come on.
yes.
So, what's the future for Thomas looking right now? What are your plans? Short term, long term, midterm?
My short-term plans is Fernando Carri right now. I'm expecting to have a match with
Come on, guys. That's
Fernando,
the
and
final subject.
very
Okay. Let's
soon,
get
very
into
Switching it
Fernando
up.
now. Let's get into Fernando now. Okay. Fernando is from Peru. Fernando is a good friend of mine. I had a show with him. I did it live. It was back when I was doing the podcast live. I changed it because when it's a video, the YouTube's algorithm it's more, it recommends it more. So
Yeah,
that's why I changed to recording it. So
yeah.
Fernando is from Peru. He's 15 years old. He's really strong, really impressive, just like Thomas. And Odin was the one that recommended that you two had a match.
Yeah.
And I remember when I ended the podcast, I I I talked to Fernando and I said, Fernando, Odin says you gotta pull Thomas. And he just won worlds and everything. Fernando is a really humble kid. He's a really good kid. He lives in New York with his four brothers, and I think it would be an awesome match. I think it would be an awesome match. And now you're telling me you're 198. That's exactly his weight, 198. And it would be an awesome match if we can make it happen. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that starts, working stuff up, when I want to do something. And I would love to be a facilitator for this match to happen. And I already have an idea. And I was talking to Fernando earlier, and he was the one that light my bulb. And I was like, I think it's possible. And I asked for a date for the guys that I want to share this with them, because this is a promotion that is not, no drama, no negativity. They're good guys, and I know them, and I've worked with them before, and I've participated in their events, and I'm gonna pitch to them this idea about this super match happening uh there. And I don't want to say it publicly, but privately I will share it with you when you end the recording. But I think it can happen. I think it's an easy way. It can happen easily. It's not gonna be too much of a hassle or anything. It can happen. I just have to talk with my friends and see what they think. I don't think they'll say no or anything. I believe they will say, like, yeah, let's do it. But I cannot get ahead of myself.
No,
yeah,
So
that's right.
of course.
so I'm working on that. But still, you're set on pulling Fernando, right? That's your main
Yeah,
goal right now. Your
that's
short-term goal.
that's my next goal is Fernando.
Good. And Fernando told me that you guys have talked, and
Yeah,
uh uh I was it you that reached out to him, or was it him
yeah. I
who
was
reached out to
asking
you?
Fernando if he was going to the North Americans because I thought if he's going to North American Championship, we'd be in the same class, so we might as well just
Yeah.
pull there instead of having a match. But he said he's probably not. He'll be at Arnold Classic or something, I think. So I said
Yeah.
maybe we should have a super match.
Yes. And I was checking dates because I think the Arnold Classic is March 24th. I think it's a Saturday. I asked my friend the date because it's around that date. It's a tournament
Yeah.
that happens every year, and it's around that date, around end of February, March, early March. It's around that date. So I think it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna be crying because I made it possible. I'm just happy, to be able to get you two together, because you're from Canada, he's from Peru, and the world it's getting smaller, you know,
It is.
and I've been lucky enough and blessed enough to find good people and make good friends, to work on this sport and help things like this happen. And even
Yeah.
if I can't make it happen, I will find someone that will make it happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got a lot of friends. I'm a I take risks. I don't mind asking people stuff. I would, hey, I got an idea. Would you like to hear me out? Yeah, and I'll just say it. So,
Yeah.
but after Fernando, you want to pull Fernando right now? Okay, but what are your plans if that super match happens? What are your plans going forward into next year?
So next year, my plans right after Fernando would be North Americans. I want to win the North Americans. After the
Those
North
those uh,
Americans,
those are in Las Vegas, right?
Vegas.
yeah,
Yeah.
Las Vegas, yeah.
Vegas, yeah.
March 8th.
I think it's March or really early March.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's 18, March 18, something like that.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just marching right straight into North Americans, and after that, worlds.
Yeah, probably that'll be the biggest. Right after North, well, not right after, but a couple months after, it'll be nationals. I'll compete there, see how I can do there, and then worlds again.
Nice. That's a solid plan, and that's consistency.
Yeah,
Consistency. Keep doing it,
Yeah.
and keep doing it, and keep doing it, and keep growing and keep growing. And who knows? Maybe we'll see him in 3 or 4 years at East versus West or a big promotion. You
that'll be
know?
cool.
I can guarantee you're going to shake his hand in less than 2 years.
Yeah.
You guys will be
I'm
meeting up.
yeah. Yeah, but if you want to come to in vacation to Puerto Rico, we can hang out, we can train and everything. I got a beach house and everything. We can hang
That'll
out
be awesome.
there. So, but anyway, I like hospitality. When I got people that visit me, I gotta take care of them. I gotta take care of them. I gotta make them feel good, make them feel nice. I'm like that. I mean, I don't know if that's a trait for Puerto Ricans, but at least I'm like that. If you come here,
Sounds
I gotta take
great.
care of you. I gotta show you around. I gotta cook for you and everything.
Oh
So
boy.
yeah, and I know how to cook, and I'm a good cook. So
Ooh.
get you some pasteles, arroz con gandules, chuleta frita. You're gonna
Oof.
love it. You're gonna love it. So, uh, both of you, I want before we end the show, I want Thomas a message for the kids your age and younger. They are watching videos on TikTok of Devin Larratt, and they like arm wrestling, but they haven't started or they are hesitating. What would a message from you be to those kids?
I think get into it as soon as you can because the sooner you can get into it, the better. If you get into it later, you're gonna wish you would have started earlier and just learn the proper technique. And you probably won't get injured if you learn the proper technique and take it slow at the start and do a little bit of table time, start some weight training, and have lots of fun with it to make sure you have lots of fun. And it's awesome. Like get into it as soon as you can.
That's nice because kids, that's a mind of a kid, and he's talking to kids, and it's short and simple. Short and
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
Well, now,
Yeah.
Dad, what would your message to parents that have kids wanting or interested in this sport? What would you say to those parents that may be watching this show?
You've got different kids. You've got your introvert kids that don't have a spot, who don't click with everybody else. And you've got your athletic kids. There's so many varieties of children, girls, boys, doesn't matter who you are, what your age is, how big you are, how small you are. If you're great in school or you're not, you can be an arm wrestler. Your kid can be an arm wrestler. Mom and dad, you can be an arm wrestler. Grandma and grandpa, you can be an arm wrestler. There's no limit. There's no, I'm too old. Oh, I'm too big. I'm not strong enough. There's a spot. There's no doubting it. In the world that we live in right now, there's a spot for everyone. You're welcomed. You'll be helped. You'll be guided. You'll be taken care of. You'll get shown everything to the best of anybody's ability. When we're with somebody new, I don't even care if I pull anybody else. I'll pull that new person, that new kid, that 8-year-old kid. I will live with them on the table. I will show them safety first, enjoy it. I will hype them up. I'll work with them. And if you're a new guy or a new girl, I don't care. Get into it. It's enjoyable. It's family. Where else can you do this in a family setting? How many moms and dads can mom goes up first, kids go up second, dad gets up there at the end. You're all there together. You can do it as a family. There's nothing else. Please tell me a sport you can do this with. And it's safe. It's not unsafe. If your kid is a skateboarder, which I had one, broken arm, broken fingers, like been to chiropractic massage people way more than the arm wrestler. The soccer
That's
guy.
true.
The soccer kids, the baseball players, his little brother's in hockey, of all things. Like, oh my God. If you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna get hurt in hockey. Even with the padding and all that. Let your kid be an arm wrestler. It ain't hard. A 10-pound weight, a 5-pound weight, 2.5-pound weight. You can mount a cable to a tree in the backyard. His first setup was, weirdly enough, it started with car rims and it worked its way up to semi-trailer rims and just bags of water or pails of water, pails of lead. There was nothing fancy. You don't need to be rich. If you've got the money and you've got the stuff to buy it, great. And if you don't need it. Get out there, have fun.
Yeah.
Get together as a community. You'll see it, you'll love it, and you'll never want to stop because there's nothing else. I was never a big sports guy, ever. I was a worker my whole life. You got into arm wrestling, you won't find it any better. It's just, you can't beat it.
Yeah. And that's the sincerity of people that started this sport as a family, and they are still doing it as a family, and they will still be doing it years from now as a family.
Yep.
Arm wrestling is a good sport. It's not a bar sport. It's a good sport. It's a family sport. You see practices when you can see guys with their babies and everything like that. And it's a family sport. And when I say we, I'm talking about the Dumas family and my family and all arm wrestlers around the world. That's what we want for the sport. And it's a family sport. It's a family environment, and it's great. And sometimes kids need a sport to come out of their shell.
That's right.
And sometimes they feel, I'm not good at basketball, I'm not good at volleyball, I'm not good at baseball, and they hide and they don't want to do nothing and maybe get depressed. Show them arm wrestling.
Exactly.
It's an easy sport, and you can get into it and like my kid has a health condition that he has to have physical activity. That's why I got him into soccer. But he's not really that good at soccer. And I told him the other day when they lost their game, and I was telling him that don't worry about it. Maybe your talents are elsewhere. And that was on Saturday. Then on next Wednesday, I got him back on the table, and I pulled my arm, and I told him, okay, go, boom. And I was like, okay, we got
No,
something going right here.
no,
So,
yeah.
uh, it's a
I'll
blessing.
just,
It's a blessing.
I'm just gonna tell you one quick thing, just to get it out there. Thomas and Tristan weren't born healthy. They had a condition. It's called Chiari malformation. It's where they were born with it. They The brain dips down into the spinal column. It puts pressure, and it can cause seizures, um, different problems, right down to not being able to walk or feed themselves. There's different varieties of this issue. Both boys born with it. Both born with it. Um, right from then on, me and their mother were like scared to death about contact sports, stuff like that. 7 years old, Chiari malformation, never stopped them, and
Yeah.
it's a fairly serious spinal issue. Now, if everybody's thinking about spinal problems, possible getting hurt, him and his brother did it with that problem, and they're doing fine. Just
Yeah.
a and I, what these guys have been through and what other
Yeah.
kids don't have to be afraid of.
Yeah. And this brings up a really important issue. Kids with conditions can
Yeah,
arm wrestle. Like
yeah,
we
yeah,
have this famous the Georgian guy,
yeah,
cerebral palsy.
yeah,
Arm wrestling has you can be a kid and arm wrestle. You can be a man.
yeah,
You can be an older man. You can be a woman, a girl. You can be uh, a guy with physical disabilities and
yeah,
still practice this sport. Arm wrestling is the real sport with inclusivity
yeah,
because we have so many like deaf people, blind people, people that can walk, people in wheelchairs, well, with
yeah,
cerebral palsy. We got all kinds of divisions in this sport. Uh, Myself, my eldest daughter, she's 16 and she has cerebral palsy. She
yeah,
was born like 24 weeks of gestation, and she was born really premature. And I know what it is to have kid a kid with disabilities. She is
yeah,
fully dependable on me and her mother for
yeah,
everything. So this 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 is a sport, and she arm wrestles. She arm wrestles. You know, you
good job.
she you know you get her arm and she will pull you. So because I teach her. So
Yeah,
if my daughter can do it, everybody else can do it.
damn
There's
right.
no excuse. Arm
There's no
wrestling arm
excuse.
wrestling is a family sport, and it's the real sport with real inclusivity. And 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 I learned this. I i haven't thought about this. I learned it from Claudio Munoz from Chile. Arm wrestling is a non-violent combat sport.
Yeah, yep,
I didn't really look at it like that until
yeah,
Claudio told me that.
yeah,
And I was like, oh yeah, it is.
yeah,
And we're talking about conditions and hitting your head and everything. If you want a combat sport that it won't hit your head or
yeah.
anything else, arm wrestling is your sport.
It's a combat sport.
And
It's a
I've
combat
always wanted
sport.
to do a combat sport. That's where arm wrestling really helps me as well. As I was younger, I was doing boxing, I was doing
Taekwondo.
Taekwondo. I just wanted to do some type of combat sport. And arm wrestling, you're not going to get hit in the head like multiple times. And with the condition that I have, getting hit in the head is not a good thing. And arm
Yeah.
wrestling is a good combat sport for me for sure.
Yeah. So it's been really educating talking with you guys. We've talked about a lot of subjects, about family, about conditions, health conditions and stuff. And I think we have shown people that will watch this that this is a great sport, and
Yep,
overall that Thomas is a really great kid,
yep,
smart kid, strong kid, and a real good arm wrestler.
yep.
And I'm proud of myself being able to have him here because I know he will have other podcasts from now
Yeah.
on and later on as he grows and gets more into the sport and gets more famous, because he's going to get more famous, and
Yep.
and he's going to be like, from that, like that Todd Hutchins, Devin Lara, John Bersenk era, that there are you know, practically the same age or around, you know, between 50
Yeah.
and 60.
Yeah.
We got Thomas, we got Fernando, we got other kids around the world that
Yeah.
are as good. And this is the group of kids that are growing. And I hope I can get to them all in this show, because that's
That'd be
what I like
great.
to do. And even when I'm dead, this show will still be on YouTube. And when Thomas is 40 years old, being 25 times world champion, he's gonna go back and goes, I remember Manolo when he had me on his show. It was the first one. I remember him, you know, and I'll be
That's
dead,
right.
you know, but he will
You're making
remember it, you know.
history. You're making
Yeah,
history.
we are making history. We're making history
Yeah.
right here. So I would like to thank you guys for accepting.
Thank
I would
you.
like
Thank
to
you.
thank Dad to get involved into this conversation, because
Sure.
it's been great to hear your side,
Yeah.
because he's a kid. He's only 14 years old. He's a kid. You know,
He's a
it's
kid.
been great to hear your side with him being in arm wrestling and doing so good, and enabling him, like supporting him and getting him to whatever he needs to be better
Yeah.
and to win. You know, we need that in this world. And I think everything is going to change from now on, you know, in the world. I think it's going to get a little bit normal. I don't think it's going to get 100% back to normal, but it's going to be at least 75% back to normal. So it's going to be
Yeah.
better than we have now. So
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that you guys share this conversation with me. I would like to ask anybody that made it to this part of the show to please follow Thomas Dumas in Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Follow him, give him some love, give him some likes, watch his stuff. This kid is going places. You are going to have the opportunity to follow his journey into becoming one of the future legends in this sport. You know, not everybody, I mean, I can count with my hand the kids that are his age that are in his level. There are not many. So you will have the opportunity to follow his journey and to support him, you know, on his journey to being what he's going to become, which I know is going to be one of the greats. So Thomas, thank you. You're a great
Thank
kid.
you.
I'm when I saw you're watching my TikToks. I go live in TikTok because I don't want to train, and I kind of that makes me train, you know.
Yeah.
So I do the and Thomas hops on sometimes and gives me conversation, and I thank you for that. I'm really honored to have you as a follower. So I just try to promote the sport and help everybody I can. So thank you, Thomas, for being here. Thank you, Dad, for
Thank you.
being
Thank you very much.
here with Thomas. Again, follow Thomas in TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Subscribe to Pulseo TV. Share this show. Share this show so it reaches more people and more people know Thomas and his family story in arm wrestling. And that's a way we can support his journey on becoming even better than he already is. So thank you for being here,
Thank you.
and until the next show, have a great time. Let's do a little flex. There you go. That's a big arm. Well, thank you, and
Thank you.
and see you the next show.
You will.